Okay, we're on.
Calling in order the council meeting of January 24th, 2023. Please call the roll.
Mr. Newell? Ms. Zajac?
Here.
Ms. Weltman? Ms. Godick? Here. Mr. Lemay?
Here.
Mr. Gentile?
Here.
Dr. Wong?
Here.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for those who have attended. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Our first agenda item would be approval of the council minutes of December 20th, 2023. These were on before, and we had a number of abstentions. Mr. Byron, could you inform council of
Sure.
the consideration regarding voting on something in which you were not present?
Sure. It is a common practice among members of public bodies not to vote on minutes for meetings which they did not attend. It's not legally prohibited. It's not something that you are prohibited from voting on those minutes. It's something that people do. If you have plenty of votes to pass the minutes, you just note that you weren't present and you abstain. It is possible. You can always have an election that changes things. Let's imagine that 4 people were up for election and all 4 got voted out and 4 new people came in. There would not be a majority to approve the minutes of the prior year's meeting. That would not prohibit the current body from voting on that if you're comfortable. And you can satisfy yourself from others who had been in attendance that the meeting minutes accurately reflect what happened. You're not required to vote for them, but you can if you want to.
And our, at least the tape, and if it's working, a video is
Sure.
also available online.
Sure.
All right, so that said, I'm going to ask council, does anyone feel uncomfortable that they need to abstain tonight? And I won't call this and pass it again.
We can't.
I was present, so.
We can proceed.
You're,
Right.
you're gonna vote?
I listened to all the audio, yes.
Same.
Okay, then could we have a motion for the adoption of the minutes of December 20th, 2023?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Godick? Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Dr. Wong?
Yes.
Great, thank you, council. Next, meeting is our organizational meeting. We would need a motion to nominate and elect a vice mayor of the city for the 2024 year. Are there any nominations from the floor?
I would like to nominate Jim Lemay.
Second?
Okay, are there any other nominations? Hearing none. Nominations are closed. Please call the roll.
Ms. Zajac?
Yes.
Ms. Godick?
Yes.
Mr. Lemay?
Abstain?
Mr. Gentile?
Yes.
Dr. Wong?
Yes.
Great. Next, we'd entertain a motion to elect a member of council to the City Planning Commission for the 2024 calendar year.
Before we move on, Rick, I just want to make sure that you're in good health, and I wish you good health for the next year. And you're watching your cholesterol, you're eating well, and
I make no
I have nothing to
prom-
worry about for the next year as vice mayor.
I make no promises, nor do I offer my wife's opinions regarding my health and weight.
I wish you nothing but good health in the next year and thereafter, brother.
Thank you. So I don't have to remotely start my car, you're telling me. Your ambition knows a bound. All right.
Sorry for the interruption. I
That's
just
fine,
wanted to
that's
get
fine.
those-
Congratulations, and if called upon, I know you will serve honorably.
Thank you.
I'll say it now because I may not be around.
Don't say that.
Definitionally. If you're serving, he won't be around. Could be temporary.
It could be temporary.
That's what I'm saying.
That's right. We need a planning commission nomination.
I nominate Melanie Wellman.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Are there any other nominations from the floor? Hearing none, nominations are closed. Roll call, please.
Ms. Atruk,
Yes.
Ms. Godek,
Yes.
Mr. Lemay,
Yes.
Mr. Gentili.
Yes.
Dr. Wong.
Yes.
Next, we have a number of committees for council committee appointments. First, for the Finance Committee.
I need to, just, because we only have 5 of us here tonight, I need to change how we're doing this.
What would you suggest, sir?
I would suggest that we do this by member rather than committee, because a committee of 3 would leave only 2 to vote, and therefore it couldn't be passed. So I would like,
Council can pass. It's not the committee electing
but
someone.
if the 3 members abstain from voting for themselves.
Oh, I see what you're
Do you have
saying.
to abstain from voting for
You
yourself?
do not have to abstain from voting for
It's
yourself.
not a great
It
practice,
is
though.
traditionally not. what
Right.
we do.
Certainly in a contested election.
Right, I guess that's my
The,
question.
the issue comes up, and that's the circumstance where everybody wants to vote for themselves, and they're permitted to. So if there's no stakes involved, you can still vote for yourself. If you don't think it's seemly, I understand that, but it's not legally prohibited.
So I don't think it's seemly,
Okay.
actually, if we can avoid it. So I'd like to just amend the agenda to provide that we're going to vote by individual for committee. And that way we'll have 4 people to vote yes, and the abstaining member can just abstain like our tradition would hold. So can I get a second to amend the agenda to do that?
Second.
I don't know what we're amending.
Okay, we don't have to amend the.
There's no amendment. It simply says a motion to confirm committee appointments.
Okay,
How we get to that, I guess.
you're okay? I don't need to have a formal.
No, I'm a little curious to see how this is going to work. You would like me to simply announce a council person's name and say, gee,
I will do that if you'd like, but
no, I will run
Okay,
the
well,
meeting.
then-
It's okay. And I'm
We'll start
not
with-
gone yet.
we'll start with Mr. Lemay, would you please?
Like we've done in the
Say it
past.
again?
Do we have to do roll call every time or? is
No, we'll
this
do it by affirmative vote.
Affirmative vote, thank you.
Let's start with, I don't know,
I-
Mr. Ray.
Great choice.
I nominate,
Rachel?
Great choice, I said.
I nominate Mr. Lemay as chair of the Finance Committee. Do you need that? I'm confused.
Well, see, now I don't feel so alone, Tony. I think we'll elect, I think the committee, as I'm envisioning this, the committees themselves may be, I don't know, we're in new territory here, guys.
Can we lay
Is the
out
committee
who you have?
So I'm
For
going to,
each-
yes.
voting on its
Like,
chair or
yeah,
are we?
first.
I would do that.
Council voting on its chair.
Let me just tell you where I'm going with this, and I'm just trying to keep the tradition of abstaining and not voting for yourself. So the next one is Jackie on Finance and Parks, Amy on Finance and Parks, Kathy on Parks, Newell on Road and Infrastructure and Communications, and Gentili on Road and Infrastructure and Communications. So I was just going to go down by name, but if that's too cumbersome, I'm open to doing this.
Is this something that council is frankly familiar with what your potential appointment is and you're all comfortable with that appointment? Or is this new news that we have to have discussions
I
as
think it
each one
sounds like a
goes?
Great
Sounds cool to me.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or we can go by committee and just do it that way, if you like.
Can we just vote on his list? Once?
You could.
I would not,
We could vote
You
on his
absolutely could.
list.
I move that we vote on the list of council appointees as just read to us by Mr. Lemay.
Does Sheila have it for the
No, Sheila does
minutes?
not have.
She'll need the list.
So it starts with,
Why don't you just send me a copy?
I will,
After you read it.
I will read it. So Lemay to finance and chair that committee. Kathy Huang to Parks Committee. Jackie Godek to Finance and Parks. Amy Zatrack to Finance and Parks and Chair of Parks. Newell to Road and Infrastructure and Communication and Chair of both of those. and gentility to road and infrastructure and communications.
Tony, okay.
Did you get that, Sheila?
I think so. We'll just play it back over and over.
I can leave you with this.
That'd be great, thank you.
All right. Does anyone on council wish any further discussion of this?
We didn't have a second to my motion.
Not yet.
Second?
Well, we're going to do the whole thing at once, including.
That's what my motion was, to
Oh, to-
approve your list.
Got it.
All
Okay.
right, let's start with the second. Is there a
Kathy
second?
gave the second.
All right, now I'm going to ask, is there any other discussion by council of this proposal? Okay. Then call the roll. Oh, we don't have to call the roll. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Any abstentions? The ayes have it. The list is adopted. Good. All right. Enjoy your rolls. Who is the chair of communication on your list, Jim? I don't have that.
Scott Newell.
No.
And let me make just a comment for the public record. Now that the committees have the council members, it's my view that each committee will decide for itself the degree of citizen participation on those committees. Some committees traditionally had a number of citizen participants, some had not. But I didn't think that should be a top-down kind of thing. So I'd like the committees to get together on their own and decide, do you want to have citizens on your committee? I know Scott, for example, has expressed support for having some of the citizens they currently have on the committee and keeping those. And there's other committees that didn't have citizens on them. So I'm going to leave that to the committee chairs. I would encourage them to, where appropriate, have advertisements to go out to the community and solicit people to join these committees. Part of the reason for doing this whole restructuring is to get more citizen involvement in more committees. And so like the process Rick put out there for ABR, he went out there with an advertisement. Was it just on the website, Rick, or did you do email but whatever that process
We
was?
sent an email to the entire city, to everyone on our email list.
Yeah. And that way we got citizens who might not otherwise been involved in city government has a chance to throw their hat in the ring and maybe serve on one of these committees. But I wanted to leave that to the chairs and the members of each committee to make that decision.
Jim, I have a quick question. How many council members are supposed to be on each committee?
I had two at least,
Okay.
not more than two. And part of that balance was, for example, on road and infrastructure, Scott, we had two council members, but there were three citizen members, I think.
We had 3 council members last.
There were
year.
3.
Yeah, so,
there-
because I was
okay.
on it.
Okay, well, he was suggesting just 2 because he wanted more citizen members. So he's trying to balance out the total size of the committee. That was his thought there. So if there's only 2 and one of you want to be added to one and have time to do that, we could certainly consider that. But I think I'm only serving on 1. Melanie's only serving on 1. I guess you're only serving 1. Everyone else is on 2 as it sits right now.
I'm happy
So-
to serve on another one.
So, all right, well, can we,
All right, can we address to the chair of this
Oh,
meeting
sorry.
we'll do that later.
instead of
Okay.
having a intramural?
Yeah, we can add that later. Yeah, okay.
All right, and that is why I asked before you voted. Is everyone satisfied with the list, and do you
Oh, I
want
was just
to
counting.
change the list?
I was,
All right, and
We have.
I have no problem with
Add more.
leaving it to the committees to determine how they wish to invite their resident members, if any. It's not always going to make a lot of sense to have a resident member on a committee necessarily.
Right.
There's certain things that just don't lend themselves to residents. So that said, we'll move on. Motion, we look for authorizing the service director to purchase an Exmark Laser Z96 inch cut diesel mower, with a canopy
Do we have to
under
take
the,
pictures?
under the state bidding process.
Does it go in the back of a shark? Or-
No.
Okay.
Jim, you want to
This
talk?
is- This was the mower we talked, or the equipment we talked about for going back into the grass cutting business. We demoed a couple of mowers, got some pricing on these, and this comes in as the cheapest one under the state bid, which is something that we always strive to do. This is readily available, so we will be able to, we won't have to wait. Other ones that we looked at had some wait times to them, so we also tried to get it going right away. So this is kind of putting us in the motion to get going.
How much is,
This is 40, like around 45,000, 44,300, plus it's got a canopy on it. I think it comes out 44, I don't have my glasses on, 44,693. So
That's right about what
that's,
was in the proposal.
yeah, I think it's probably $300 more because I don't think we figured a canopy in there. We're trying to save the guys from burning up out there in Gates Mills.
oh, okay.
We felt that this one at sized out, we'll be able to use it more often on some of the other properties and not just concentrate all on Gates Mills and thinking about Gates Mills property, but trying to make the best choice that'll be most versatile.
Can I ask you a question about Gates Mills? Whenever the trail ends up getting complete in the landscaping, is that going to make your guys' job harder? What to like go all around potential, like roadblocks basically?
No and yes.
Yeah.
I don't know what the
It depends
what
on
the
what's like, I
plan is
guess,
going to be
right?
like,
Yeah.
yes, and what they do to, what the augmentation of Gates Mills turns out to be. If it's mounding, yeah, probably will make our properties a little more difficult.
Yeah.
But but you're taking away some property that's getting cut, so
Mhm.
it may equal out in the end.
Okay, thank you, Jim. Can we have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second,
Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Ms. Zadra?
Yes.
Ms. Godek? Yes. Mr. Lemay?
Yes.
Mr. Gentili?
yes.
Dr. Wong?
Yes.
We had a finance committee meeting tonight. Mr. Lemay, you wish to report?
Yes, we did. I was telling Chad at the beginning, it's great to see the final full year 12 months report because it's the final scorecard on how you did for the year. And I'm pleased to tell everyone that the number of line items that had the annual budget amount and the actual amount of spent or received was extremely close on almost all categories. The variances, minor variances in a few areas, but we talked through. From a revenue side, we talked about the income taxes. We've given some benefit from the work from home movement here, and that seems to have stabilized. So that was great for city finances going forward. The interest income, of course, spiked tremendously over the year as interest rates came up. It was about $500,000 good guy to budget over last year. And on the expenditure side, as I mentioned, most of the line items on expenses were very close to budgeted. So thanks to Joe for that great budgeting work. And we're on solid financial footing for the future.
Thank you, Jim, and I join in your support of Mr. Brzezinski's excellent work. Thank you very much, Joe. That was the only committee I think we had meeting. It looks like we're going to have a lot more committees meeting. Whoever is the chair of a particular committee, I urge you to be in touch with our clerk so that she can provide whatever necessary notifications regarding a council committee meeting. Okay, that is very important. So whoever is a chair, I can't read my own handwriting, but whoever you are, make sure you communicate with Sheila, please, about that so that these committees are properly operated. So thank you. Pardon me. Chiefs, anything? Yes.
I have 3 items. First, Pike Fire Department received the 2023 American Heart Association Mission Lifeline Gold Award.
Hey. Why don't you say what that means?
This is for stroke and heart attack care. So it's based upon the actual patients that we deal with. Their symptoms compared to their outcomes. We work with the hospitals on that. And it's all about the care for the patient in those two areas. Fortunately, we have two great systems, UH Ahuja and UH Hillcrest, which can resolve a heart attack. So, you're probably 7 minutes either direction from one of those facilities that can handle that task. And they included stroke in this last one that was not included before. So stroke has become a parameter that we're gauging to, and our first shot at that, we met those criteria as well.
Fantastic.
Chief, could you just reflect as to the rarity of this recognition?
Well, so there's only 95 fire departments in Ohio that received it. There's about 1,300 fire departments, so
Wow.
Congratulations.
Wow.
about 95 communities. Again, we're blessed in this area. Not the entire state does not have the hospital systems that we have in this area, but it's a partnership. So it's a system that we work together with.
Chief, go ahead, Kathy.
What determines where the patient goes, either to UH, Ahuja, or CCF?
My question
Usually their
exactly.
choice,
Their choice?
because it's dictated by insurance today.
Right.
So it's easier to work within your own system, and either one is providing excellent care, which this shows.
Yeah, I'm curious. I had the same
Yeah.
question. You think if you're in the northern part of the city,
Right,
you go
you go to
north, and
Hillcrest.
if you're southern part, you're going over to Ahuja. Time-wise,
Right.
is it only a few minutes difference either way, or?
So that's how I would think about it.
Yeah. If I'm having a heart attack, just get me there.
Yeah.
Worry about that.
And stroke,
Right.
they say that time is brain, so the faster you can get there, the better off. Now, Hillcrest happens to be what they call a thrombectomy capable stroke center. So
Okay.
they can actually remove clots from your brain. That can only occur in 4 facilities in the Cleveland area: Hillcrest, Cleveland Clinic Maine, UH Maine, and I believe it's Fairview on the west side.
Wow.
So that is a unique capability with Hillcrest.
Wow.
Does the urgency of the
Selfish.
situation ever dictate where the patient goes, or do they always get a choice?
Absolutely. So it would be difficult if somebody's having a stroke to try and run them downtown when you have something closer that's capable.
Mm.
If
So,
that makes any sense.
so yes, you would, if they were having a stroke, let's call it a bad stroke, something like that, you would take them to Hillcrest.
Yeah, we would take them to a closer facility.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm not saying downtown is even an option. I'm saying, in my mind, Hillcrest and Ahuja would be the only 2 options.
Yes. And for this city, that's the 2 largest systems, and generally that's how your insurance is dictated to. So you kind of get the pick.
But for the stroke, they're going Hillcrest.
That was the
chief.
question.
Yeah.
Have you been recognized for this in the past? I feel like this
I
is not
think
the
this is
first
the
time.
You're
Okay, I was gonna say, I feel like this has been multi-year, which is really exemplary. So congrats.
Thank you.
I've often said to people facetiously, sometimes in speeches, but seriously, if you're going to have a heart attack, do it in Pepper Pike.
Ouch.
Second item, our insurance service organization's reevaluation for Pepper Pike is being published next week. So insurance service organization rates all the fire departments in the communities. This establishes your casualty insurance on your home fire insurance. So this is an independent rating agency. They rate every fire department in the United States. So this is done every 5 years. It's a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being the highest, 10 being no fire department. So when I came in, we were class 5. We are currently a class 3 and just got reevaluated as a class 3.
Hmm.
So,
What would it take to get to class 2? What are we missing
so that's a great question. Probably if you were to put your finger on any one item, that would be the greatest ability to do that would be staffing.
Staffing.
Yeah.
Huh. But you're fully staffed, you're 24/7.
Yes, yep, 4
So,
people around the clock.
yeah, so why would that be a,
Well, it still requires a certain number of people to adequately extinguish a fire.
okay,
So they use that basis. Now, this includes, we currently use Beechwood for automatic aid.
uh-huh,
So any fire that occurs in Pepper Pike, they're automatically coming. So it already includes that.
yeah,
So we can't get any better on some
right,
of our partnerships.
right, okay, yeah, okay,
And third item, our CERT team held a training session this fall. So 8 members were certified nationally. And it was a 9-week class, and they received certification. And they partnered with Shaker Heights CERT team and the Tri-County CERT team. So accolades to them too for, these are all residents, taking the time out to go through this. They assist in all the events that occur in the city. They assist with traffic control in a lot of events. They help conduct a search one night for a Alzheimer's patient. So it's definitely a group of people that is active in the community and taking it seriously and receiving the training and getting the accolades for that too.
And that's all voluntary, correct?
Yeah, volunteer organization. We have a number of physicians that belong to it. We have some really high quality personnel that we can use in different areas, different specific areas. So that's a plus.
And really a call out and congratulations to the resident leadership of our CERT team, as well as special acknowledgement of Lieutenant Rob Felber, who has put in, really years of dedication to organizing and bringing the CERT team up to this very high level. So please extend those salutations on.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Chief, you have anything?
Nothing really to add, just a productive meeting that Chief Frazier and I had today with the leadership at Heritage Classical Academy.
Hmm.
And they have a very good plan in place. Hopefully they'll be getting started this coming school year. And they seem very grateful to be here. And they also have many family members, it sounds like, in the community as well. So
oh, really? Okay,
I think it'll be a good fit.
So council is aware our building department has been reviewing internal plans for the rehabilitation of some of the buildings on the property. There are no plans submitted for anything other than interior work essentially done
no,
on these buildings.
no, nothing demolished, no, not demolishing anything, as,
I don't know if he's gotten a
There's
demo
a 10-year
permit.
plan.
Yeah, not at this time.
Not at this time.
interesting,
They may be wanting to demo something, but there's not a new building construction that's been described.
so they're gonna use rehabbing existing buildings to run their school, interesting, okay.
Unfortunately, Mr. Shi has a family issue that's taken him out of town, family personal issue. So he's not here with us tonight or this week, actually. So Jim, we had a snowstorm.
Yeah, briefly, we had a nice little snowstorm Friday and Saturday mainly. Friday didn't happen as fast as I think the weather people predicted. So we were out at 4:30, worked till about 7:30. And then it was stopped snowing most of the day. About 2 o'clock though, it really turned up the snow. So we believe we got around 4 to 6 inches on Friday. We did a lot of plowing and salting. We hit the roads at least 4 times that day alone. Plowed every street at least 4 times. Saturday, we came back in at 9 in the morning. They worked till 11 o'clock on Friday night and then came back in at 9 in the morning. We got a couple of inches overnight. Went around about 3 more times throughout the day. And so we figured about 8 inches of snow total. Worked about, or we put out about 400, almost 500 tons of salt, which is par for the course when you have that little snow that just comes over and dusts over the roads real quick. And so we worked about a total of 150 man hours on over the weekend, put in about 1,700 miles, which is a lot around this little city. So,
Is that, and how big a chunk of it was the overtime for that? Just roughly, I'm just curious.
Saturday was all overtime, so you're looking at 11 hours Saturday. We had 49 hours on Friday.
Okay.
So we do save hours of overtime because we have guys here on shift.
Mm-hmm.
We saved on Friday, we saved about 14 hours of overtime. Okay. So that's, which helps, and it also helps because our guys are here started at the hours when the weather's
4:30 a.m.
Yeah, 4 o'clock a.m. They were here on Friday, and they had enough trucks out. We had 4 trucks on the road at that time, and then when we stayed over on Friday afternoon, we had 6 trucks out there.
It was well done.
So yeah, it was a good result for us. Other cities didn't fare as well. And then unfortunately, we had an icy situation. What was that, yesterday or Monday? And yeah, that was a little crazier. What you got to understand is concrete streets react differently than asphalt streets. So a lot of our problems turn out to be on concrete streets. We were backing up the streets to salt them while our trucks were trying to get up the street. So we had to do things a little backwards, and it really makes for
Just to get the traction on the
just to
street.
get the traction for our truck to get up the street. We have
Salt
to
first
salt
and then
it.
drive over it.
Yeah, because if you do it the other way, we tear up a lot of mailboxes.
But the road conditions resulted in a
Yeah.
late call in school closing.
Yeah,
We got notification at like 7:20 a.m. for our children, as opposed to usually they would either call it the night before or by 5:30 is what they really strive to do. So
A lot of people, I think a lot of districts in the area went to a delayed start, which saved them a lot of that, but the schools made that decision. It's on them.
yeah, the buses could not
Yeah.
get down the streets. So that was tough.
Right. And it's not simply our community that they were dealing with.
No.
Our community was actually there are certain streets that had issues because of the concrete or whatever.
Mm.
But a job well done by the guys. That's a pretty challenging situation.
Like I said, we get about one a year, real icy day, and hopefully that's it, and we don't get any more because those are very challenging. It rains, it washes the salt off the street that's there. So you really it's almost untreated. So you got to get out early, and they were out. The mains were great at that point. The guys were on the side streets. We had 5 trucks out for that at that time span. So, and I think they were done at 7:30 or 7:45. So,
And as you described, there were literally hundreds of tons of salt
yeah,
on those streets.
yeah. Because of the storm Friday, Saturday, we had a lot of salt on the roads, which that's where it penetrates into the asphalt roads, and it keeps those ones a little nicer shape. So.
Which I guess I have a question in just learning the difference between asphalt and concrete. When we go to replace streets, knowing that the asphalt would react better with salt, is that something that we're considering, or are we just sticking with material? Like, is there a reason behind, like, knowing what happened? Is there a reason that might be a road and infrastructure question, but still, I'm just, and of course, Don's not here to answer that,
Okay.
but it's still just,
I know you weren't waiting for Don not to be here, but Don question.
darn it. Yeah, we can discuss at some
I
point.
don't know how that, most of the times I think the roads are replaced with what they take out.
Yeah.
So, if it's an asphalt street and we're rebuilding, we build it in asphalt. It's a concrete street, we rebuild it.
Right. I know it's not your department, Jeff, but
it's just-
just kind of, reacting to the situation.
Well, then simply also on resurfacing,
Mhm.
you can do a mill and fill on an asphalt street. You cannot do a mill and fill on a concrete street. So a lot of times because we've done a lot of overlays where we have
we'll
the
do a
concrete
concrete.
base and put the asphalt on top. And then we do a mill and fill and it's like a brand new street again.
Mhm.
But yeah, generally, there's certain years where it doesn't really make a difference cost wise when you're doing the street, whether you go concrete or asphalt, depending on the price of oil at the time. If there's a huge discrepancy, we would certainly look at it if we were doing a total rebuild. But Jim's answer of backing up on the streets, that isn't necessarily 100% driving force. A lot of it is maintaining a street over a 30-year period
Right.
versus on a concrete street.
Mhm.
Fair enough. I was just looking, from a safety perspective, if it's something that we should consider. So
Fair,
thanks for the explanation, Joe.
fair question. Okay. Thank you, Jim. And again, please extend to the crews
I'll let them know.
our admiration for being out there so early in the morning and putting in on extraordinarily long days to make our streets safe. Appreciate it.
No problem.
That would bring us to my comments. We have the only thing I want to alert council to, and I hope your calendars can accommodate it. On Thursday, February 8th, we would like to have a special council meeting in the evening in order to introduce to council a recommended landscape architect firm. There's been an extensive interviewing of a number of firms. The interviews were being conducted by myself, Mr. Brzezinski, Don Sheehy, Scott Newell, and Jim Advent. And the unanimous recommendation is who we would like to present to council for your consideration. And so that it'll be a presentation so that you'll learn more about the firm and their thoughts as to how they would approach the linear park on Gates Mills Boulevard. So if everyone is good with that February 8th, yes, Kathy?
I may or may not be able to make it depending on surgery. Just
Okay.
so you know, Thursdays are my big
Is
days.
that a tough day for you?
Usually.
Okay.
I mean, I'll try to make it if I can. So if
Okay.
everyone else can make it, that's fine.
Okay, so you don't want us to just, I'd like to proceed if we could. They could try to accommodate like the 7th maybe, but
7th is
it's
better.
tougher for them too. So I'm trying to find a date that works for everybody.
I'll try to make it.
Okay, appreciate it.
8th is a Thursday.
Yeah.
That's a Thursday.
Can it be recorded? Like we.
Yeah, it will be recorded.
Okay.
At what time did you say?
Maybe 7:30, 7?
7:30?
7:30.
Kathy would
You
prefer.
have a better shot at 7:30, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
We'll do
You're right.
7:30 then.
You're right.
Well, you're 8.
8? Okay.
I don't have my calendar, but I might be out of town that day, but there's no reason to stop it. Just go ahead.
Okay. And,
And it will be live streamed on YouTube.
yes.
Okay.
Oh, okay, that helps.
Okay.
Council, anything?
I two questions.
Go ahead.
Two questions. Has the Belgrave communication gone out to the residents yet?
Not
Do
yet.
you know when that's going to go out?
I think Don responded to that, and I'm trying to remember. He had put a range on it at a meeting or two ago, and I can't remember what it was, Tony. I'll check with Don and we can let you know.
Okay. And also.
He won't be available though till I think next Tuesday. I can try to reach him in the meantime.
Okay. And the other thing is Don was going to provide us with side of the street criteria for the recreational trails.
Right. That I have not received anything yet from.
Do you know, can we
I'll
set a
follow
deadline?
up. We'll
We set
follow
a
up.
deadline on that?
We'll follow up.
People are asking, you know.
We'll follow up. I would hope that maybe next month he'd probably be ready to go with that.
Question. Would we be able to look into possibly live streaming some of the committee meetings? I know a lot of people want to see them, not only hear them the next day, but is that possible? Like
Well,
I know
the challenge with that is that
Sheila.
and who's operating it. And that's a challenge. Yeah, and
But maybe, Scott, he's, communications infrastructure, maybe he could do that.
the infrastructure meet with Scott, maybe I'll talk to Scott.
He's got a chair.
That would,
Of
that would,
the
that would be
chair.
the most likely meeting, if any, I would think.
Okay. Or
Is that something, if somebody else could do it besides Sheila? Is that possible, or does our clerk of
We
council
don't have a
required
person. We don't have a person.
to do it? But if, okay. I was just
Yeah,
curious
there's-
the requirements for that.
There's no real person to do it.
That's fair.
I'll learn.
Okay. Anything else, council? Audience, anything? I'm sorry.
It's
Did
okay.
I
I was
skip over?
just,
I didn't
I
mean to
just,
skip over.
it's okay. I was a little bit late, to speak up. I just wanted to mention my calendar of dates to everybody. I don't know if you had a chance to look at it. I would like to finalize some of these. So maybe next meeting, we can even talk and finalize. I don't know if anybody wants to attempt to do it tonight. I did have a question for Joe, if it's even feasible or possible to do or to hold our annual budget meeting in November instead of December, like looking that we have a meeting on Christmas and this and that. If we could, and if it has to be on a Saturday, or if we can have a discussion earlier in the year, like now, to set a date for that we're all kind of planning towards it. I felt like that's
See, the only problem is with it being due on the 15th, generally the next week becomes a Thanksgiving week.
right.
So
Well, if
that
it's,
would make it earlier,
if
but
it,
then you're gonna get less potential participation because of Thanksgiving.
but that we have the 20th, which would be right. So that would be the week of the 20th, I would assume, if the 15th is when it's due. And then you're right, the following week would be the 27th of November that we have one scheduled. That would be the day before Thanksgiving, which I know traditionally we try not to meet then. But if there was a Saturday, maybe like,
Because,
if you could look at maybe just.
I mean, we could take a look. I just haven't seen any problems at the beginning of December. That's why we've always hit that first Saturday generally. Sometimes there were a couple issues where it could be the first, and we rolled it to the second Saturday. But generally, over the last 6 or 7 years, I would say the majority was probably the first Saturday in December. Why, do you see that as an issue?
Perhaps personally, but I don't know if anybody else would have an issue with that first weekend of December.
Well, because whenever we have it, I mean, I know there was one year that Scott didn't attend and he came in at a different time and we went through it.
Okay.
Everything that we went through.
Well, that meeting this year turned into not just a budget meeting, so that's my concern. I mean, that ended up being a 4-hour Saturday meeting.
Well, hopefully, we're not going to have ordinance 17s and 18s that drop into those. That's really what drove that meeting.
There were a few other agenda items that weren't just added by
Well,
council
we
for
always
that.
do
The
like the
insurance,
insurance thing, we always include in that meeting.
right.
That's pretty perfunctory, though.
But we also
Well,
had.
Joe will look at it.
Yeah,
Okay.
well,
Yeah.
Anything else, anyone?
I have a question. I'd like to get some clarification. This was from, I'm thinking maybe one of the December meetings when we were talking about, this was before Don was going to start his planning, so it might have been even earlier than that. When we were talking about the potential lander, the stretch of the walkways there, and I know it had been brought up of maybe ending them at, Fairmount, instead of going all the way up to Cedar. Where do we
Yes.
stand with that? Because I just know that there's some concern about people, further up Lander who want to make sure that they have access to the walkway.
Well, it'll end, I understand that, just so that you're clear.
Yeah,
It'll end at Fairmount on Lander. The Gates Mills path will continue to extend uplander at least to the end of the Ursuline property probably. It was going to go up to the driveway, and Don was going to see, well, since we're there anyway, maybe
Yeah.
we run it to the end of the Ursuline
okay,
frontage.
Yeah.
So it leaves it still doesn't address those residence frontages that you talked about, but it'll be a little farther down Lander than maybe people are understanding. But
okay,
it does leave those houses not covered. You're right about that.
yeah. And is that,
I think it's about 4 or 5 houses though there.
Pike property.
Like it's not,
It's not very-
it's not,
Yeah.
So, you know,
Yes.
why don't I have Don
would be
look at it
across
so far as some
from
pricing
Ainsworth.
issues?
it would still run to there.
Why don't I have it done, look at it so far as some pricing issues? And then council can make a determination if it wants to extend it for these,
But
few additional households or not.
My question would be connecting to what? There is no sidewalk on Cedar and there is no sidewalk going
We
forward.
wouldn't be connecting, it's
Mayfield
simply
there,
to
it would
give
just-
those residents on.
So I
land.
think it ending at Ursuline makes sense, but
Or
Well,
running
that-
up to Ainsworth, really. You would run up to Ainsworth
it would be
because
across, yeah, Ainsworth is across from Ursuline.
you would pick, yeah.
That's
you
the
would-
last street where there's an
Yeah, that would
intersection.
be-
Right, and then you got probably like 6 or 7.
And we're doing the
properties.
same thing on South Woodland. It's ending at the last intersecting street because the cost of serving 3 more houses, it didn't make, and that was
Right.
Don's
Sure.
recommendation.
Mhm.
Right,
Okay.
right,
Yeah.
right, I
Same
remember.
with Shaker, that we
Yeah,
wouldn't run
so,
the
but
entire length of
If
it.
we
because-
extend the Gates Mills to Ursuline, it's gonna be on the Ursuline side, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yes,
Yeah.
So Ainsworth is on the other side.
they'd have to
Yeah,
cross.
you'd have
the
to
road.
cross.
Yeah, but it's just,
Mhm.
Yeah. So I mean, we're crossing the road maybe twice. I don't know.
Right.
We don't know which side.
Yeah, but
other
probably,
part of
it'll
the county is
probably
gonna be-
just be on, I'm assuming, on the west side, the Ursuline side. But, I haven't designed it, so I don't know. Seems to make logical sense to me, but
It was baked into Gates Mills, I thought.
I think that's a good point about the South Woodland.
yeah, that's what he recommended because
Right,
the
right.
cost of doing that was
That's,
so high
and that's consistent.
relative to the few people served that I thought that was very prudent on Don's part.
Yeah. All right, well,
Can't walk a little ways to get to it.
I'll just let council handle those 5 residents.
Okay.
Uh, That being said, can we turn to the audience? Audience. All of the audience, okay. We'll start with Vera and we'll move on down.
Vera Bar Savage, 29600 Shaker Boulevard. I want to thank Jim and his crew for doing the snow plowing. It was great. We had on social media a lot of likes and a lot of comments, positive. So everybody was really thrilled with that. I know I was out on Friday and I hit coming from Akron, hit some communities that were just horrendous. So coming into Pepper Pike, it was dry, it was wet, but just wonderful. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Go ahead.
I can tell when I went to Lowe's, in the middle of the night, and you could tell when you hit Pepper Pike. I'll just say it that way, like, oh, thank you, because it was driving on
And just to
not
build
5 miles an hour. Yeah.
in the old days, you could tell when you got to Beechwood.
Yeah.
In the old days.
Yeah.
You still get
It's true, but now you can't tell you're leaving Pepper Pike thanks to your crew.
Yeah.
Don't worry, we'll be on the other side of it by the next 3 storms.
Well, William, you always have to do the, tell Sheila your name and
yeah.
address for the
Oh, I'm
record.
so sorry.
I know she knows you, but you
Okay,
have to say it.
William Thompson, 30500 Providence. Thank you. I want to echo the suggestion before about live streaming the committee events and echo her question, a good one about, well, can't somebody else do it? I don't know, is there a separation of duties
Are
concern
you,
where?
it's a
if somebody
physical
on the
body.
Parks Committee-
It's a physical body and they're not being paid for it type thing. Yeah, that's what it is.
I don't understand, because like if somebody were on the park, don't pick on Jackie, like Jackie's on the Parks Committee, can Jackie
Yeah, I have to imagine one of us could
do that? Or
stream it. If I'm assuming.
Well, it's a conversation, I guess, the committees can have.
That's
A
kind of what I was
communications
Yeah.
committee can have that.
Yeah.
And they can figure that out.
Yes.
I
Yes.
just, very quickly, just in the name of transparency, I thought it was an excellent idea. Because there's a lot of like, hey, what's going on out there? And people want to see what's going on, and making more transparent in year 2024 is not a bad thing. And let's take advantage of the internet. So there we go.
Okay.
That was it. Thank you.
And you're an IT guy.
I am. It's like leaving out of it. So
We always could use volunteers.
Yeah.
uh,
My name is Richard Westcovich. I live at 29579 Gates Mills Boulevard. One comment.
Do you really, Chief, could you check on that address, make sure he's right?
And I have an to be there for anybody who wants them. I just post it on the internet. If I, because I do this with the school, and some of them, I get an email every time there's a committee meeting. Second thing is, these meetings are on the internet. If you're gonna have a committee meeting separately, if you don't do the same thing, all of a sudden, you're reducing transparency. Okay, so, I give a lot of thought to the mechanics of the committee, because I think it's important. The question, the chief or either, if a resident request to be taken to clinic main campus, will you do it?
There's a medical necessity that's involved. It depends on the patient's condition. If we don't believe that the patient can be transported down there in the time it takes us to get there, that it can impair their health or have an impact on their health, we would not do that. We've taken the.
You will not let the patient make the decision.
Well, still, there's factors that go into that. If we passed a hospital, a patient that's in dire need of care, it would be problematic for us.
The reason I asked that question is, and I don't want to knock everything, but I had a very bad experience with Illinois, and I know that they've done an awful lot to improve their services, but I'm not quite yet a believer, quite frankly.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors that go into that. So we do transport down there. We've transported both the UH main and Cleveland Clinic main. And it's hard to make paint that with a broad brush to say that, yeah, we're always going to do that.
Right, because I don't want to be in the alternative where you have a family member taking you because the EMS won't.
Correct, and generally, I haven't seen that happen. I mean, there's always the ability to transfer to get initial care and then you transfer.
Okay.
I don't want to talk anymore about my particular situation.
Yeah, I was going to suggest, maybe you want to go offline
Right,
and have a conversation with the chief, Richard.
right.
Okay?
I have a question, Sheila. Do we still have our Zoom license? Like if any committees want to
We haven't, but
utilize it?
technically we
We
don't
never,
Zoom
we
meetings.
never put that into place, did we? Permanent?
No.
No. So you don't have,
An ordinance that,
you don't have the law in place to do that.
but we could potentially.
Another topic for the communications
okay.
committee.
So your meeting's tomorrow morning?
Yeah. No, we have to give notice, and I'm not officially on the
Fair enough.
committee.
All right. Anything else? That said.
So Kathy, for
Uh-huh.
next time,
Yeah.
you want to go on communication?
I don't care, either one.
But you want another one?
Yeah, sure,
Would you like communications?
either one,
Either one.
whatever Scott wants me on.
I thought, okay, all right.
No, it's okay. I drive it every day.
Oh, yeah,
so
I
it's
can-
here.
Yeah.
So it's like,
It
when you
is.
look at it, when
How was your, it's up to you.
I don't care.